Lesson 9.1, Estimating a Population Proportion. The objectives for this lesson is to be able to obtain a point estimate for the population proportion, construct and interpret a confidence interval for the population proportion, and determine the sample size necessary for estimating a population proportion within a specified margin of error. So if you recall last time to our overview sheet, this is what we learned. We learned to find the mean and standard deviation for a sample mean and the probability going with that, and then very similar with sample proportions. Remember that sample proportions fall under qualitative data, sample means are going to fall under your quantitative data. So today we're going to be able to cover confidence intervals for sample proportions. So now we're working on this right-hand side. If you recall, I've talked about inferential statistics in the beginning of this course. Recall that I reminded you that inferential statistics needed to contain two things. It needed to contain a range and a confidence level. When I was talking about this specific inferential statistics, I was referring to the estimation. So this estimation will be covered in this chapter, and we're looking at an unknown parameter. If you recall, a parameter is the population. So we're looking for the unknown number or mean that is in a population. And then the other type of inferential statistic is hypothesis testing, and this will be covered in Chapter 10. So Chapter 9 will be on the estimation. So let's first start off with defining point estimate. This is the value of a statistic that estimates the value of a parameter or sample that estimates proportion of a population. So let's look at an example. Suppose we want to estimate the proportion of adult Americans who believe that the amount they pay in federal income tax is fair. And we've talked about this because it is unreasonable to expect that we would survey every adult American. So instead, we take a sample of adult Americans to arrive at this estimate of the proportion. We call this estimate a point estimate. The Gallup organization conducted a poll in April 2017 in which a simple random sample of 1,019 Americans age 18 and older were asked, do you regard the income tax that you will have to pay this year as fair? Of the 1,019 adult Americans surveyed, 620 said yes. Obtain a point estimate for the proportion of Americans aged 18 and older who believe that the amount of income tax they pay is fair. So what we need to do is find the sample proportion. So we're going to do p hat, which is x over n, and we learned this in Chapter 8. So we have 620 over the total, 1,019. So it's 0.608 or 60.8%. If we wanted to type this out in a sentence, we could say we estimate that 60.8% of Americans aged 18 and older believe that the amount of income tax they pay is fair.